for you and me. Another key change, oh God, oh no. Gig nightmares for you and me. All right, gig nightmares. Here we are today with Mr. Tom Theurer. Tom, how have you been?
Hey, man. All right. Not too bad. Not too
So,
bad.
so obviously we met as a result of this topic's gig nightmare. So, before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit about some of the projects you're working with, bands you've been a part of? Facebook says you've been drumming since 1985.
Right. Yeah. Were you born then? Not yet, probably.
Nope, 1999.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. 85. July of 85. So this is 40 years now. So uh, still working on it though, never get done. So
Yeah.
and I thought it would be easy because I started on guitar and I thought, this is too damn hard. I'll do something easier. I'll switch to drums. And here we are 40 years later, still working on it. So
So, what are some different projects you've been, proud to be a part of?
but right now, Brass Pocket, it's 10-piece horn band out of Reading, really. We're doing a lot of really high class things, really cool gigs, like the Reading Phillies and Hall of Fame night and things like that. Some banquets, and we're getting better and better gigs all the time. Crimson Circus is another one. They're a 5-piece, more classic rock, I guess, straight ahead, and they do some original stuff too. So we're doing that, when time allows. And then I have 2 original projects too. Green Cathedral, which is prog stuff, and Sylvia Platypus, which is more like a folk rock kind of thing. And we shot a movie last year. Just one scene in a movie, but it was still pretty cool to do.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we don't do a lot, but we did that, so that was kind of neat.
Awesome. All right, so I guess we'll just get right into the gig. I'm gonna tell a little bit of my perspective, and then obviously, if you want to jump in and say anything from your side, just so we can both see how that night went. So, I think they reached out to me maybe 2, 3 weeks prior to the gig, saying, "Hey, we need a bass player. Any chance you can help us out?" And I've done plenty of fill-in gigs, so figure sure. I'm free this Saturday, so.
Yeah.
They give me a set list and I'm working on it. And over the course of the week or 2 weeks, the set list changed about 3 or 4 times, and
No, you're lucky.
not at all stressful. That's fine. So it's the day of the gig. It's a Saturday, roughly somewhere outside of Philadelphia. I don't really remember the actual town, but outside of Philadelphia. I get to the gig probably 2, 3 hours before we're supposed to start. Load in, sound check, whatnot, and you're the first person I meet. So I step out of the car. I see you loading your drums in there. So I say, "Hey, hi, my name's Max. I'm playing bass for you guys tonight." Being all friendly and trying to make some small talk. And I ask you, yeah, I ask you. So how long have you been with the band? And I remember you said something along the lines of, "It's my third gig and it's probably going to be the last one tonight, and you'll see why."
Hmm. Yeah, and then you said, "What did I get myself into?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Oh man, if you got to ask, then if you're asking that already before you even walk in the door, oh, be careful, be careful."
I
Yeah.
was
So
like a Zoom background.
now she's real bird. She freaks out if I don't give her attention. So, but
Aw.
yeah. So
So,
well, I
I'm
mean, as soon as I pulled in that place, I knew kind of what to expect. It was in a row of stores, and she talked it up like this is the best gig in the world. Like Clive Davis is going to be there or something, and oh, this is really important, really important, really important. It's really important, And I'm like, I don't think so, but
yeah.
okay,
I mean, same sort of experience. I walk in there, smoky dive bar. I see 10 people or so sitting at the bar, and I just get a gut feeling. This is going to be the whole crowd, isn't it?
yeah, and they're going to hate us.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember like we do the sound check. It's fine. It's whatever. We can hear each other. What more can you ask for? And I'm not really sure what to expect, but I see my dad gives me a call. He says, "Hey, I'm out front." I wasn't expecting him to be there because for him it was probably close to like a 3 hour drive.
But
Yeah, yeah, he drove 3 hours to be there, which I mean, props to him. But just knowing how the gig went is like, ugh.
yeah, it took him longer to get there than the gig actually was.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So
I
Uh,
don't think I knew that. I don't think I knew that was your dad there.
yep. So as you mentioned, so we were supposed to play for 4 sets, but we got cut halfway through because of the 10 people that were there, it went to 8 people and it went to maybe 6 people. And eventually, at the end of the second set, is when the owner comes up to the band leader and says, "Okay, you guys are done. You're getting half pay. You just go home."
Yeah, I kind of heard him say, "Do you mind getting the hell out of here?"
What? They
Not
actually did
only
that?
not only you're done, but don't even stick around. Pretty much, in essence, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow.
But I was thankful, and I said, absolutely, I have no problem whatsoever getting the hell out of here because I
Sure.
hated it in there from the minute we walked in there. First the smell and the smoke was ungodly, but just the vibe in there was like just evil. I don't know. I said they're going to hate us, and we're not even going to sound it anyway. I mean, what's not to hate, you know? But I mean, I liked working with you, and I liked all the glances we gave each other because I know you're used to much better, as am I, and it was like, what the hell is going on here? What is this girl doing?
Yep.
But
So just to, I've probably told a few of the actual, moments of the gig. I've probably mentioned a few of those in past episodes of this show, but just a few things I remember, and also, again, feel free to chime in with anything you remember. We were doing "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." So, obviously everyone,
first song out.
was it the first
It,
song?
it was the first song, I think.
Oh
Yeah.
no. So we
Yeah.
start with that, I guess. And obviously, like, you do the riff and then it goes into the first verse. But we start playing the first verse and there's just nothing. There's just no vocals. They're just swaying back and forth, just like dancing back and forth. And I'm just looking at you. I'm looking at the guitar player. I'm saying, what's going on here? We go back to the chorus and we do it again. And I guess the second time through the first verse, we play the first verse. And I'm just thinking, this is a sign of the things to come tonight, I guess.
Yes.
So,
And she still didn't come in.
what was that?
She still didn't come in. She's standing there looking around, like in the zone. I don't know what the hell was going on. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I remember I think the last song of that first set was Enter Sandman. And obviously, Enter Sandman has what, like a minute 15 intro. It's a pretty long intro. So, but we're starting with a bum, bum. And maybe after 20 seconds, she just comes in with the vocals. And it's like, I don't get how you like these are iconic songs. Like some of the versions of songs we were doing were like covers, like obscure covers of popular songs where the arrangements were different. Like obviously with that, I would expect something to be different, some kind of screw ups. But like if you're doing like the original song in the original arrangement, how do you screw that? Like hit me with your best shot. Enter Sandman. Those are two of the biggest cover band songs out there. Everyone
yeah.
plays that.
And that's the thing too that got me was that the weird versions of stuff that she wanted to do. Like she had on the list before you got there, "Sweet Home Alabama," a
Uh-huh.
totally different version. Like the entire, I despise the tune, right? But people want to hear it. But the whole guitar line was different. It was all the music was different. The only thing that was the same was the lyrics.
Ah,
And she wanted to do that version. And I said, well, as much as I hate the song, people that want to hear the song want to hear that guitar line, you
sure.
know, and they don't want to, what the hell's this version? What are you doing? It's just weird versions of stuff. I was like, this is just horrible. What are you thinking? You know, um, the irony in that is that the night before we had a gig and it was just as bad. There were 6 people there, and this is somebody who creates fake profiles to make herself look more popular. She
Ah,
got 2 or 3 fake profiles that are clearly her because all the same words are misspelled as on her page. Like she's every one of her personalities believes that White Rabbit was done by Janis Joplin.
uh,
All three of her personalities believe that. So that's clearly her, and it's spelled wrong. Anyway, she sent me like after the horrendous night the night before with a different bass player who was not our actual bass player. The first gig I did was the actual bass player. Then the next gig was somebody else, and then the next gig was you. So 3 different bass players, 3 gigs.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like
So
I
by
was under
then,
the impression, like before I stepped into that there was a stable lineup, but someone
yeah,
was unavailable. That's what I was told. It
that's what
was
she
like
said.
three
Yeah,
different bass players.
in 3 nights, and then the actual bass player got wind of how bad the gigs were, and he wrote to me and said, "Let me tell you something. It's not you." He said, I've been in the band for 8 months. We've had 9 personnel changes.
Jeez.
I was like, okay, well, that would have been good to know before I got there. But, anyway, the night before, the night was horrendous, as you can guess. And she sent me I was sitting at one end of the bar. She's sitting at the other, texting back and forth. And I wish I still had it, but she texted me. She said, hey, listen, that's how she starts it. Listen, I made no mistakes tonight. So what's going to happen is every Tuesday from now on, you all are going to drive to Allentown and rehearse these songs and learn these parts so I don't look like a fool up there because I made no mistakes tonight. And I said, nope. So that's not happening. In fact, you'll be goddamn lucky if I show up tomorrow. And that's when she started on her shit that, it's a really important gig. It's the most important gig we're doing this and that. And then we show up there, there's the 10 people there. And I'm like, what do you mean it's the most important gig? I mean, are you kidding me? I think it was like in Levittown or something.
Yeah,
said,
that was Levittown, right?
I don't think Clive Davis is coming to Levittown to check out cover bands, for the next big thing. I just don't think that's happening. So your version of important and mine are a little bit different. I said, first of all, and second of all, I am certainly not driving to Allentown every week to learn songs for you to still not know them. And then the next night is when she did that with Hit Me With Your Best Shot, just standing there looking around in space. Like, I was like, but I thought you made no mistakes. You wrote this right here to me last night that you make no mistakes. And here you're standing here, like looking around in space. And I showed the guitar player that. And I said, hey, this is my last gig with you, clearly. I'm sure you can surmise that. But if you want to know why, this is why. And I showed him the text. I said, this wench that you have playing with you said this shit to me last night and then did what she did tonight on this stage here. And I think that's why they said, you know what? You guys might as well get the hell out of here because she was a nightmare. It was, I mean, if those people didn't like us, something's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, come on. I don't know. It was just, I think, and that was the last of 3. The first gig we did was at Big Phil's no, that was the night before. Friday night was a Big Phil's, right? And a friend of mine came, and a singer from another band that I hadn't met yet came to see us, bought me a beer, right? So I had a beer with them. And between sets, I was going out and talking to them. And she ripped into me. She said, all you did tonight anyway was drink all night and hang out with your friends. I had one beer, one, that my friend bought me. And I said, well, I know you may not know this, but when friends come to see you, someday if this ever happens for you, you'll find that you probably have to spend some time with them when they're there. That's, you have to acknowledge them and hang out with them between sets. Not that you know that. I understand why you don't know that, but this is what happens. And I had one beer all night, one. And I said, I certainly didn't drink I did drink all night, but it was the one beer. I did make it last all night. And it's only because they bought me one, but it wasn't like anybody was sloppy drunk or anything. I don't know what her problem was, and then then after I quit the band, well, I wasn't actually in the band. And then it's another thing she did. I told her I would do a couple gigs with her and see how they go. I committed to a couple gigs to see how they go. And she, at that point, made this big grand announcement that I was her new guy. I was the new drummer in her band, and hands off. I'm with her and her band exclusively from now until the end of time. The reason I know that is because a couple people contacted me and said, well, I was going to offer you this gig, but I see you're with her. And if you're playing with her, I can't work with you. I said, what? 2 people told me, 2 separate people, 2 separate bands said, if you're messing with her, I don't want nothing to do with you because obviously your priorities are twisted. I said, really?
The reputation is really that bad. Wow.
Yeah. And then the one band said, you check out this profile, that profile, that profile. You'll see it's her. Like she has multiple profiles set up to make it look like she has more friends. One of them, she makes it look like that person's filming them. And really she just puts a laptop, a tablet off to the side and hits record. And that iPad takes on the personality of this name that she gave it. She posts from that account as the person filming. It's craziness, and she writes all these testimonials about how great the band is. Again, with all the same misspellings and all the bad language, the Miss Janis Joplin and her version of White Rabbit. Hey, come on, give me a break. So, like we're not going to know. But yeah, so then after the gig we did, I told her that's it. Don't call me again. Forget my number. I will never ever sink this low. And she waited till 5:15 the following morning. It was like a Sunday morning or Monday morning because it was a work day. She waited till Monday morning 5:15, and she texted me, "Hey, just so you know, you're out of the band. I found this new drummer who's the greatest thing in the world. I think he lasted 3 gigs, you
Uh,
know. But just so you know, I don't want you in my band, and you should probably retire because you were screwing up well-known songs." I'm like, do you forget who? Like, I was there to see what you did. I mean, are you kidding me? But yeah, she said I should retire. And I think since then I've done what, maybe 200 great shows. I don't know, probably less than you, but you know, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to retire because I know when to come in with "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." I'm not the singer, but I know where the vocals start.
yeah.
You know, I'm not up there looking into space. You know, but yeah, I should retire.
Hmm.
So
It's
obviously
interesting
I
because, like,
didn't do that.
after that gig that weekend, I had another fill-in gig the following morning, and the drummer for that gig came up to me and said, "Oh, so how'd your gig with those guys go?" Because apparently, I think a few months prior, they reached out to him trying to get him to be the drummer. But
Okay.
yeah, if I remember correctly, he told me that they sent him a set list, like an audition set list. Then, like the day before, sent him a different audition set list.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gets to I guess the audition, maybe plays one song, and they decide, "Oh, you're the guy, you're the
Oh,
guy,"
yep.
despite the fact
Yes.
that he didn't even really get the chance to play anything.
Yeah.
And
And
from
they made
there,
him learn.
he just, I think he said he just got a weird vibe from that and decided to turn down the gig, which good for him.
Yeah, yeah, he's smarter than me, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I kind of knew, if even before she talked a good game, she really did. Oh, I love my drummers. Drummers make the world go round. Blah blah blah. And then she mentioned something about Pottstown. She said we're local, because I'm in Phoenixville. She said, "Oh, Pottstown's not too far for you. All this and that." I said, "All right, I'll come out to a rehearsal and see what happens." Then she sends me the address of rehearsal. It's in Allentown.
Mm,
I said, "Wait a minute. You didn't say Allentown. You said Pottstown." Pottstown's 30 minutes from me. Allentown's an hour and a half. I'm not
yeah.
doing that every week. No way. Well, maybe do it like once a month, once every 2 months, something like that. I said, even you didn't say Allentown because I would never have agreed to that. Allentown's, I know how far it is from here.
Sure.
Why am I don't need to practice in Allentown. I have a house here. I can practice in my own house. I don't need to drive to Allentown for that, you know. So already I was disturbed. And then when I got there, I met the guitar player and the bass player. The bass player I really liked. His name was Mike. He was really good. Really, he's the only one that knew the songs. And then they whipped it on me that he was only doing the first gig and not the second and third ones. I was like,
Mm.
but he's the only one that knows the songs. And then she said her and the guitar player do this duo, all the time, like every weekend or something. They do this duo. I'm thinking you guys are the two that are the weakest two in the band. Neither one of you knows these songs. And she's screwing up. She's even reading lyrics and can't. Oh, I didn't prepare. What do you mean you didn't prepare? You made me learn 30 songs for this audition. You didn't prepare. You picked them.
That's right. That's what the drummer, my drummer buddy said. He got to the rehearsal, knew all the songs, and then they said, "Oh, sorry, we don't know these." That's what happened. I remember
Yeah,
that.
same thing. Like you picked them. I didn't pick the songs. You did.
Yep.
And then I go to their website and she's got all the songs listed, right? Like songs that we do.
Yeah, yeah.
And you got to scroll down. I literally scrolled down. I think it was like 35 or 36 songs until I found ones that they actually do.
Are you kidding me?
No, like she got all these songs listed that they do not and could not do. I'm like, how the hell did they do this song? Because they couldn't even get through, Dirty Deeds, the Joan Jett version, which is the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
They couldn't get through that. How are they doing this? And I'm telling you, it was literally like 35 or 36 songs until I came upon one that they actually do. So
Oh.
I mean, the whole website. And if you watch, I don't know if you watched the video or not. Now she got these new cats playing with her that seem to not know what is going on. I guess that's better because they're not questioning her weirdness or her mania. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they sound okay. The band sounds okay, but she's like the one note wonder, And even the videos, she put up a montage video. She chose, you ought to know, there's two big ogres dancing in the front, right? They're mouthing the words of what should be there in the song, and she's singing something different. And the one girl's face is even like she's not even doing the right words. You can see her mouth this. in the
And that's in the
video.
promo video that she made?
Yeah, and I'm like, what is this? What is she thinking that this is the best they have? And it probably is the best they have.
Ugh.
And I'm like, man, good thing, she didn't have that video obviously when she contacted me, but she
Yeah.
did the same thing. Oh, we don't do that version, we do this version, and then we go into this, and then we do this. Okay, well, all right. So I prepared it that way, and they didn't do any of that stuff. And the guitar tone was horrendous. I mean, it must have been playing through like I don't know, a little Radio Shack amp or something. It was just horrible, horrible.
I
And I'm
mean,
like,
I
how
didn't
can
really have all that many interactions with him, so I can't speak about his character. Obviously, you would be able to say
he's
more.
a super nice guy.
Yeah, like I got that feeling, but like musically, like I remember we were doing Sweet Home Alabama, and obviously like that's, like the Southern rock, bluesy, almost country sort of feel of like all the leads. It's great stuff. It's just great. But I remember when we were playing it, I just hear all these like a million notes an hour in every single scale. And it's like, whoa, it's like Primus in a Leonard Skinner song. It's not something I really wanted to hear, but like I was it's like, oh, that's a bold artistic interpretation.
It's definitely different. It must have
Yeah.
been a hybrid of the version the normal version and the one she wanted to do. Because I'm telling you, musically, the version she chose was nothing like it, nothing like it. And she picked up what was the other one? There was one Fleetwood Mac one, the Chain or something. In the
Hmm.
Chain, the song's perfect, the Fleetwood Mac version, but she picked this heavy metal version where I don't know, the original has that bass break in there. It's super cool, right? And the
Sure.
version she chose doesn't have that.
Oh.
It's on guitar. I'm like, wait, how ridiculous. That's the coolest part of the song. Why would you pick that stupid ass version? But, it of course never got that far because we never did that one.
Yep, I remember one of them we were supposed to do. I don't remember if we actually did or not, but One Way or Another by Blondie. Like that
Yeah.
bass part is honestly what I think Blondie songs, like depending on the song, like something like Dreaming, the drums really make that. Like obviously Clem Burke was amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Then One Way or Another, I really love that bass part with the bum bum bum, like doing like the I guess 50 60 sort of thing. Like that's awesome. But then the version she picked, it's just like bum 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 bum. It's like that sucks. Why would you? It's like it's covers by obscure bands I've never heard of. So it's like I don't really understand who you're trying to appeal to with this.
That's what I mean. I don't understand what she's I mean, I get the idea of being different, but you still have to be good. I mean, you can't
Sure.
just be different for the sake of doing something different.
Sure.
I mean,
Like I played down in Virginia a couple days ago, and after I was playing with the country band. After us, there was a bluegrass band, and they were doing all covers of popular songs, but in like a bluegrass sort of style.
oh yeah, cool.
That was amazing because like you just hear like, for example, they were doing like Rebel Yell by Billy Idol, and you hear like the banjo picking out all like the synthesizer, and it's like that's awesome. That's creativity. Stuff like that is, I absolutely love when bands have their own creative
Yeah.
interpretation. I was in Nashville back in September, and I saw a great jazz funk band doing the same thing, just like taking like everybody wants to rule the world and just making it into like this awesome like free just like jazz funk improv sort of thing. It was awesome.
Yeah, I did a gig too on St. Patty's Day, and they had the music between, like the sound guy was playing his own songs between, and it was the same thing. It was bluegrass songs. Well, it was regular songs done in a bluegrass style. It was really incredible, like heavy metal songs even. Like one of them was like a System of a Down song or something, and they had all the banjos and violins and the accordions. It was like I said, "What the hell?" And I only noticed it because I recognized the melodies and the lyrics and stuff. I said, "This is like the coolest thing I've ever heard." And he said, "Oh yeah, there's a whole channel dedicated to that." I was like, "What?" Yeah, it was cool.
Sure.
Um,
But it goes back to, in order to really pull something like that off and have it be done effectively, it requires lots of talent and also lots of rehearsal. You can't just put something together like that. Just
yeah, I mean
no.
that's it. The playing was phenomenal. I mean, the banjo picking was stellar. I was like, man, somebody spent some time on this. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Yeah, you can't just phone that in. But yeah, my God, as the whole thing afterwards too, just to text me at 5:15 in the morning and tell me I'm fired from a band I told her I'm never going to play with again. And then when she said, "Oh, I have the best drummer in the world anyway already. He's way better than you, and he's the answer to all my prayers and all that." And then like 2 or 3 gigs later, he's gone. I was like, "Okay, well," and the bass player was gone. Well, then obviously there's something wrong there. And I felt bad for the guitar player, man. I did because he's a nice guy. And I told him, I said, you are like hitching your wagon to this wingnut because
Like, I don't get why does he stick with her? I don't know. Again, I don't really know him personally all that well.
no, but I mean, well, the rehearsal was at his house, and he was so nice. He was very, very nice guy, and I felt bad actually that I was being such a jerk about it. But I was like, you got to do something with this. You're better than this, you know. Just even personality wise, attitude wise. Like, why would he tolerate it? I don't understand it, you know, because he was a great guy. He was very helpful. He helped me with my stuff, and very super nice. Even at the gigs, he was very helpful. But I was like, I don't understand why he's setting up the PA, he's doing everything. All the legwork was him. And then she shows up like what? I think that gig she
That's
showed up
right.
like
I don't was she there for the sound check when we did it?
no,
I think she showed up
no,
maybe 30 minutes before we started.
if that. It might have been like 15 minutes.
Hmm.
And it had this wacky outfit on and sparkles and glitter and shit and
Yeah.
flitting around. And then I saw her writing down lyrics like key lines, key words to songs that, again, she accused me of not knowing, classic songs that everybody knows, writing
Yep.
down like the first line of every verse of songs that she knows, that are on the playlist. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, I don't know. And all the misspellings and everything. I'm looking at her website and I'm just like, I can't believe this is what you put out there and people book you based on this. I'm I'm anal about that. Spelling and stuff like that. Like, the difference between your and there I mean, if you don't and to, if you don't know that stuff, then don't be making a website that is the first impression you're making to somebody. And that's what she did. And
Have someone else do it. Have someone proofread what you're doing.
oh
Like
my God, it's atrocious if you look at it.
it's
And
just a lack of quality control. Like, I mean, obviously, like the music comes first and whatever, but like when you're trying to be a professional musician, it's all about a lot of it really is like the branding and the imaging and the marketing and everything like that. And if you have careless mistakes in there, people say that and say, okay, well, you're not professional. Because obviously, like, let's say, I don't know, ZZ Top announces a tour. You're not going to see like a bunch of typos and whatever on there. It's going to look like a real poster.
yeah, of course. And I know that it's low. She's going for a low hanging fruit as far as gigs go, because she even told me, she said, she just sends out 500 emails and whoever bites is where they play.
Hmm.
She has no concept of what the venues require or what they're like. Like the first one we did was some smoky ass place. And I was gagging in there. It was so bad. The smoke was so thick, it was like walking through cotton. And I said, hey, I'm bringing my nice drums in this room. You kind of got to tell me if they're going to be embedded with cigarette smoke in 10 minutes. I would not have brought these drums. This is important shit to know. I have to
Ye-
know this stuff. I'm not bringing, $1,000 drum set into this place that smells like this. And I was furious already in the first gig. And she said, well, I don't know. I've never been here before. I said, why don't you research this stuff? You got to know this stuff. I said, especially her being the singer. I said, you're the singer. You told me you had cancer before, throat cancer or something. You would think you would be the first ones to find that stuff out.
Sure.
If you're going to jeopardize your life and the lives of your friends and band and their gear by walking up, that's one thing I take pretty seriously. My mom died of cancer, so I'm pretty anal about that. I'm pretty nuts about it. I need to know that shit. If it's a smoking bar, I probably wouldn't have gone there, and I certainly wouldn't have brought my good drums there. I would have brought crappy drums that I don't care about, you know.
Sure. So obviously the gig was cut in half. We were supposed to do 4 sets and we only ended up doing two, which I mean, I'm sure we were both pretty happy about that. uh, she told me that the pay was cut in half since they only played half, but she still paid me the amount that she told me she was going to pay me to her credit. So I'm curious, did you have your pay cut or did she also take that?
I don't know. I think she probably did pay me what she said she would. I do think that she did. I don't, not that I cared. I mean, I've had occasions where I've done gigs that were so bad, I just gave the money back.
Sure.
Because if I accept the money, then that tells you that I accept the terms of this gig, and I do not. You know, that freaked that dude out. Like he couldn't believe his eyes when I handed that money back to him. It was like $80, and it was the most horrendous, probably almost as bad as this gig. You know, I have like five different songs going on at the same time around me, and I'm trying to, So at the end of the, he's up there yelling stuff in the microphone. He's making racist comments, and just he stopped the band because the guitar player showed up with 5 songs in. The guitar player's here, and he's like, "What?" And he's on the phone. What, what, what? On stage, and then he stops the band, goes out and gets the guy's amp and brings it in, mics it up, and then we proceed. I'm like, "What? What? This is a nightmare. What is going on?" So when he paid me at the end of the night, I said, "Just keep it." Because I can't, I just, no, I want you to remember this day that you can't do that to me. Keep your money, split it up among everybody else that accepts the terms of this gig, because I can't do it. I can't do it. I said, make sure you never call me again. And he's like, I've never seen anything more messed up in my life. I said, that's exactly what I'm saying to you. I've never seen anything as messed up as this in my life. But her gig was that way too. And she probably did pay me because she knew I was furious, you know, but
But I remember, so like she paid me. I drove off. I went to Philadelphia to go visit my one buddy, and maybe like 20 minutes after I left, I get a phone call from her. And well, first,
oh
like
my God.
a big like urgent message and whatever, something. Oh no, did something happen? Something go wrong? But well, she calls me, she apologizes, saying, "Oh, there was supposed to be a lot more people there, but there was a lot of competition in the area." And it's like, well, we're in Levittown. I don't really think so, but whatever. And she was saying something along the lines of just basically talking the band up, saying, "Oh, well, Tom and Jerry's really wants us." I've personally never been to Tom and Jerry's, never played there, but it doesn't. I mean, I don't really know Tom and Jerry's as like one of like. Well, it's not the Borgata for one thing,
No, it's not the
Not trying to
Borgata.
talk it down, but like,
I do like it there, and it is tough to get in there. But what she was trying to do, they have an open mic on Wednesday nights that
mhm.
she was trying to get on there, and that's what they wound up doing. The initial video that they had was done there at Tom and Jerry's on an open mic Wednesday night. That's what she was trying to do. You know, they didn't want her as a weekend, because you got to be. It is a pretty tough place to get into. You
Okay,
know, and you certainly have to bring people out. You can't be people repellent. But I mean, a couple of bands I've played with, Bad Hombres has played there a couple of times, and they're actually very good. They're a fun band. They're very good, and it was tough to get in there for them. So I don't think that Tom and Jerry's is looking to book them on a Friday or Saturday night. They're getting them in there on a Wednesday night, for the open mic, the
I,
audition. That's like the audition, the showcase night. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, they're all about that, sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So then it's because I think that gig was maybe March or April, somewhere around that time frame. So then it's August, and I get a message from her again. She says, "Hey, we got this private party. There's going to be 400 people there. There's going to be lots of food. It's going to be great." And I mean, I had a free Saturday, so I entertained the idea, and I said, "Okay, how much does it pay?" And it paid a fair amount less than the previous gig. And it's like, well, why do I want to show up and do this for less? Like, I know it's not going to go well musically. So I told her, hey, yeah, I'll do it for the same price as what you paid me before. So she deliberates. I guess she says, okay, that's fine. So then I think it's maybe a day or two before the gig, and she reaches out and says, you won't be needed. It's like, okay, fine. You don't want to pay me? Fine. But it's like, what's the point in selling yourself short? It's like, yeah, ultimately, yeah, we do this for the love of music. We don't really do it as like, obviously, yeah, it's nice getting paid. Who doesn't like a good paycheck? But that's not the primary reason why you do this. It can't be the primary reason, or else you're going to be miserable.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know. It was
And a
just
friend,
it was a good experience teaching me, don't sell yourself short. Don't, because there's been, I get asked to do filling gigs pretty often, but one, obviously, I need to be available for it, and two, is it something? Is it either going to be a good opportunity to help me get somewhere else, network, whatever, or is it going to be like a decent paying thing? I think those are two good things to. Well, what do you usually consider if you get asked to do like a fill in?
both of those things. Are they people I like? I mean, if it's people I don't know, I like the challenge of that. That's for one thing. I do get off on that, but um, yeah, it's got to at least sound good or pay well, one or the other. It can't be crappy pay and crappy sound, you
Sure.
know. And then I guess it depends on the gig. What are the expectations? Like how precise do you need to be? And what's the point? Like I was going to say to you, the friend of mine that was at that first gig, before he came to the gig, I talked to him. I said, I don't know about this band, man. I don't, I'm just not feeling it really. I don't think they're as good as they say they are. And he said, well, stick it out because it's easy money. It's a steady gig. They're booked a lot because he knew he looked them up, and it's a steady gig, easy money. No, why not? Why not? Right? Stick with
Yeah.
it for a little bit and see what happens. So then he came to the first gig, and the first thing he said during the first break, he said, "Listen, forget what I said. Just forget I said that because I'm embarrassed that I said that to you. This is like garage band shit, and you're way better than this. You were playing with cats better than this in 1990. When you had 5 years under your belt, you were playing better songs with better players than this. So what are you doing?" A lot of my friends are that way. They're just like, "What are you doing? Stop it." So that was what he said. That's why she had a problem with the fact that I was talking to them all night because she knew what they were saying. Because he was saying, "What are you thinking? What's wrong with you?" So when my friends put it to me that way, I'm like, well, I guess I got to consider this. That I'm certainly not going to be able to draw people to come see this going forward. And
Sure.
I don't want to be seen doing this. So I have to think about those things. Is it
Yep. And that's
detrimental, to what my reputation is?
yeah. And
That
that's also
actually
why
was.
it was nice having my dad there for the gig because, well, obviously, like your friends, they're musicians. My father, well, he tried playing music when he was younger, but never really caught on with it. But he's a music lover. He's a non-musician who's passionate about music. So he's obviously not looking at it from the same perspective as like, oh, the technique or whatever. But he can still recognize when something's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, like the same thing. Like we would finish the first set, I would go have a drink with them, and we'd just be saying, "Oh man, oh man." And then a second set would happen, and like some whatever moment would happen, and you just see him just like kind of look away awkwardly.
Yeah, yeah. And you and me looking at each other like, what
Yeah,
did we
yeah,
just see happen? Yeah, oh, it was so bad, so bad. And that was
yeah.
my third one in a row like that. It was like a Saturday and then a Friday and then a Saturday.
Hmm.
It was like 2 weekends in a row, just ruined.
But you were touching on something that I think is a really good point. I usually think of like the three criteria of a good gig. One, good people, people you like working with. Two, good music, you would hope to be playing music you like. And then three, obviously you want the pay to be decent. And if you have like usually at least two of those three things, it's passable. But if you only have one thing, or in this case, kind of none of those things,
None of those. Yeah.
I mean, I
And
guess it explains why, as you mentioned, what, 9 people over the course of 8 months?
mhm.
Ridiculously high turnover.
And he left right after that because the gigs you filled in for, he did one more gig after that, I think. And that's when he wrote to me. He's like, "Hey, how was that gig that I didn't make?" I said, "Oh man." And he said, "Yeah, he said I can kind of figure. I could see that ship was sinking." I said,
Yeah.
"Mike, you were the only one who knew the songs in the whole room, and you weren't there. So you tell me how it went. You know, that's how." And he said, "Yeah, I think I'm done with this. I can't keep doing this." So even he was like fed up with it. And I
Yeah.
kind of felt like partially responsible because he's like, you helped me see how bad it really is. That it's not, I'm just not overreacting by thinking these guys are messed up. You know, I said, no, you're not overreacting at all. It's a disaster. You know, and
I
again,
mean,
the
I
guitar
don't,
player feels so bad. But
yeah. But I don't think saying partially responsible is fair because if anything, like, well, you're doing them a favor saying, hey, you can do better than this. And again, I'm not obviously we're not doing this as a means of just like talking shit. It's more so just like, hey, here's an experience we had, and here's, I guess, things to watch out for like anyone in a similar situation. Like know your worth, don't sell yourself short. Obviously, practice the damn songs, know what you're doing. But then also, and I think this is where like a lot of musicians, and unfortunately a fair amount of musicians that I've worked with in the past, just try to be self-aware. If like obviously in the moment it can be awesome, but like you take a video, watch it back, at a rehearsal, get the band together, watch the rehearsal, watch the live show, say, hey, this is something we did good, this is something we can improve on. Because
yeah,
ultimately, like to be a good professional band, to be at least competitive, you need to be always striving to be better, identifying your weaknesses and figuring out, okay, what's something we can do better? How do we make this the best live experience for any audience?
well, see, that's exactly it. And that's as soon as she said to me in that text message, I made no mistakes tonight. That immediately told me that's not somebody I can work with ever again. That's
Yeah.
somebody who's delusional and thinks that she has no improvements to make. And that already tells me that it's impossible to work with somebody like that
Sure.
because nobody's perfect. Nobody. And so I heard a lot of notes where you went for them and didn't make them and skipped lyrics and just, what do you mean you made no mistakes? And I said, that already closes me off to a conversation with you because you tell me there that you're not willing to listen to anything anybody says. You're convinced you're perfect and that's all there is to it. And it's not possible. It's just not possible. So I'm always looking to improve, always. And I guess that I bet you right away too, that you are, and that's why you're doing what you do and why you're good at it and why you're popular and liked and doing everything possible you can do. You
Well,
know,
thank you.
I mean, I see what you're doing. You're going on tour with people and stuff. People don't grab somebody to go on tour with them if they're terrible, you
Sure.
know. So, and that's, you got a couple cool things going on, well, at least a couple that I've seen just in passing, without even really paying attention. I see you doing cool stuff. So obviously you must be doing something right, I think. I don't see them taking anybody taking her on tour, right? So,
Good point.
not they're not taking me on tour either, but if I were open to that, they would be, but she ain't going on tour nowhere. So,
All right. Well, before we wrap things up, is there anything you want to be promoting? Any shows you have coming up? Any original music coming out?
oh man. Well, Green Cathedral is working on a CD, which will probably be done, in 2030 at the rate we're going. Um, it's very meticulous and time consuming and detailed, so every detail is agonized over as prog rock is,
Yep.
Um, I just mixed two songs for Sylvia Platypus. They'll probably be coming out pretty soon once we all agree on the mix. Um, that's the band I did the movie with. Bitter Souls, it's called. It's on Amazon Prime. If you check it out, you'll see me for about 3 seconds, but you'll see my name in the credits, which is cool.
Cool.
That's all I really wanted. So now I can, drummer, I can say I have some acting credits. But Saturday coming up. Well, obviously the 4th of July, I have a gig at with Brass Pocket. We just got at La Scala's on the boardwalk there in Brigantine. That's Brass Pocket, and then Saturday night with Crimson Circus, we're at the Marchwood, I think, Marchwood Tavern in Exton, I think. So that's it, and then you know, throughout the rest of the year, I have all kinds of stuff with Brass Pocket, really,
Awesome.
which is fun stuff. It's horns and all that cool stuff. I love it. They're a lot of fun songs, and the crowd dances and they have a good time. So
All right. Awesome. Well, hey, Tom, it's been great getting to catch up with you, hear what you've been up to, and obviously getting to relive that night. It's been a
oh my God, yeah, that's something we need to keep going over and over again. Never again, never again. And you do try to do somebody a favor, which is exactly what it was, and it bites you in the ass like that, And
yeah.
you know. But then once I stopped playing with her, then people started calling me. They said, "Hey, now that you're not with her anymore." I said, "I never was with her. I never said that," you know. But they said we were going to call you until you were not playing with them anymore. Oh well, that's good to know. You know what I mean? So that's really the reputation that she has, and I had no idea. I didn't know
Association.
that. What's that?
Guilt by association.
Yeah, exactly. I'm willing to put up with that kind of crazy behavior. Then I must be a nut job myself. And I had no idea because I didn't get that from her from the first couple of times I talked to her. It wasn't until I got on stage with her, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Again, it's been a pleasure catching up. Pleasure chatting with you.
all right, man. Thanks. It was
Yep.
fun.
Yep. Signing off. Gig
Take it
Nightmares.
easy.
Thanks for keeping the music alive.
Thanks. See ya.
See ya. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Gig Nightmares. Gig Nightmares is an independently produced podcast made possible by the support of listeners like you. If you enjoyed this week's episode, we would appreciate if you left a rating and a review for us. Gig Nightmares.